Dr. Phil is an American talk show host who brings people together in dysfunctional family relationships and makes them confront each other so that they can attempt to move their relationship through the impasse. The Dr. Phil talk show addresses the dynamics of dysfunctional relationships. Many of the problems people bring to the show can seem to embarrass them in the eyes of the viewers. The shows can be educational and emotionally moving. There have been times Dr. Phil has lost it on his guests. Here are the 5 guests Dr. Phil literally wanted to kick off. A 15-year-old Madison was brought to the show by her parents because she had regularly terrorized her family. Madison had gotten so aggressive with her parents it became violent, causing her father to believe she might kill him. Madison would scream and throw complete angry outbursts, and she had also been charged with grand theft auto. Madison stole and sold close to $20,000 of her parents' possessions and physically attacked them. However, Madison decided to play dumb even after Dr. Phil put her social media post on the screen. He had had enough, and after Madison refused to admit that she was displaying destructive behavior, he made it very clear that he knew the full story, and gave Madison a choice to either tell the truth or he would, which made the situation so intense that Madison eventually walked off stage. Number 2. When Dr. Phil sat down with Paul and Alaska, he had to face some serious accusations. Paul claimed that when Alaska started what she said was a legitimate cuddling business that was supposed to benefit people who suffered from PTSD, anxiety, and depression, he was all for it. That is, until he said Alaska started using her own provocative photos to market the site online. She admitted she hadn't been completely honest with Paul about her involvement with her business, and was ready to tell all. However, while defending herself, Alaska stated that Dr. Phil had been insinuating various insulting ideas throughout the interview. She thought Phil believed that she slept with the men she met. Of course, this set Phil right off. He told Alaska that she shouldn't put words in his mouth before looking her dead in the eyes and stating that he wasn't afraid of her. Number 3. In the episode that a girl named Bailey was in, it features one of the best Dr. Phil reactions of all time. When this 21-year-old came to the show, Dr. Phil even had to call off the interview at one point, feeling extremely irritated. Bailey had liked a stranger's tweet and promptly fell in love. She sent the woman thousands of messages declaring her love even though they had never met. The woman called Jasmine contacted Bailey's mother and said that if she didn't get Bailey to stop contacting her, she would have her arrested. But that too didn't stop Bailey. On the contrary, she was quite sure that Jasmine had only contacted her mother because she cared about her. Throughout the interview, Bailey tried to dictate to Dr. Phil who should and shouldn't be allowed to appear on the episode, while flipping through emotions so dramatically and trying to make a victim of herself after Dr. Phil caught her in many lies. He eventually just booted her from the show altogether. Number 4. The episode featuring Pete and Pamela is one of the darkest episodes on the Dr. Phil show. Pamela claimed her ex-husband Pete abandoned her, their 17-year marriage, and their 2 sons when he started an affair with Lori in 2011. Besides that, she also blamed him for their 15-year-old son's suicide. Pete in turn blamed her, stating that she actually wanted their son dead. Even their other son, 18-year-old Joseph, was pointing the finger at his father, saying he had only met Lori once and that he had no relationship with his father's new wife, nor did he want to. The whole argument on the show culminated in a fiery and destructive 3-minute speech from Dr. Phil, who was completely furious and tore into Pete by calling him reckless and destructive. He finished with telling him that he had a black heart. Though Dr. Phil expressed all that in that calm cadence, it was obvious he was just boiling inside. Number 5. Jessica brought her mother onto the show to reveal to the world that Patricia had been faking her cancer diagnosis for sympathy and attention. However, Patricia's story became even crazier once she was set to talk with Dr. Phil. Patricia told her friends and family that she was dying from stage 3 brain cancer, and that's not the only lie she told about her health. She also claimed to have lost 100 pounds in 1 week. Patricia says she's had more than a dozen strokes, and she even took money from fundraising events for her alleged medical expenses. The worst part about that is that she wasn't using any of the money to improve the lives of her children, while also neglecting her dog who lived a miserable life in the dirt of her home with an untreated infected eye. And while she did have some sort of brain surgery, Dr. Phil painstakingly reviewed her medical records with her to prove she wasn't dying. That couldn't convince Patricia that she wasn't terminally ill though. That brings us to the end of today's video. Anyways, be sure to leave a like to the video if you enjoyed it, and we'll see you guys in the next one.